Hey everybody, welcome to another action-packed, exciting episode of Scotty's Record Shop. Before we get into the matter at hand, even though we don't have any new subscribers, I just want to say hello to everybody and thank you for watching. Today's matter at hand, today's subject at hand, is ranking the 9 studio albums from Led Zeppelin. And literally right before I switched, or not switched, but pressed record, I switched some stuff around. So this is just not easy. And if I think about it too much, I'm going to do some more switching. So we're just going to go with it, kiddies, okay? Alrighty. Only the discography, only the studio albums, no live albums. And there's been some great live albums, right? No compilations, none of that. Just the original studio albums. Alrighty, so starting off, the pile is probably the one I think maybe everybody puts at the bottom. I mean, it's not a horrible album, but it was really kind of leftovers. It was issued right after, or a little time after, John Bonham's passing, and that's Coda. You know, it's not a bad listen. A lot of leftover stuff. I vividly remember our local rock station putting Ozone Baby. I don't want to say into heavy rotation, but there was a bit of a build up to this. I mean, we were like, we were hearing on the radio there's going to be a new Led Zeppelin album, and we're all trying to figure out how this could be, since their drummer died and there was no news of a new drummer or anything. And then we got this, and it was like, okay, a little bit of a, I don't know what word I'd use, but we had over expectations, I think, on this. But, so we were maybe a little disappointed, but still there's some good stuff on here. So, at the bottom, Coda. Now we're going to go where I'm doing switching a little bit here. We're going to go with this. I'm not even going to think anymore. In Through the Outdoor. I like this album. There's some amazing In the Evening, Fool in the Rain, All of My Love, fantastic stuff on here. But you could tell the band was kind of getting tired, and I know that the band was getting tired, and I know Robert Plant was going through a lot of stuff, and I don't think he really wanted to be there anymore, and there was some major drug issues going on with Robert Plant at the time. But still, a good offering. My first copy was on, I believe my first copy was an 8-track that came from Columbia House. Remember seeing it was the album of the month. You remember how Columbia House used to do that? We picked the album of the month, and they showed a picture of the guys from Zeppelin there, and this was it. And I was like, cool. More I'm thinking about it, this may have been the actual first Zeppelin album that I got as a teenager. I mean, I knew about Zeppelin, believe me, we'll get into that, long before this. And my brother had a fair amount of Zeppelin albums, so I didn't have to buy them. I just had to steal them from him for a little while. But this was the first one that I bought. This is not the original Columbia House. But anyway, In Through the Outdoor. All right, this is the one that I kept switching around because as time goes on, I like this album more. Super heavy. And I think probably, it kind of sounds weird, but Led Zeppelin having an overlooked album or an underrated album because Zeppelin is so blown up and, But I think if there was an overlooked or an underrated Zeppelin album, it would be Presence from 1976. And like I said, the more I hear this did not get a hell of a lot of airplay. There were a few things on here that did get some airplay on our local rock station, but it wasn't as intense like In Through the Outdoor got heavy airplay. Physical Graffiti got heavy airplay. How many times, Kashmir over and over and over again. But anyway, we're talking about this album, Presence, and I didn't get this album until the '80s because it was like, well, okay, it's a Zeppelin album, and you know, by that time my brother had moved out. He never got this album, so I never really heard it all the way through until the mid '80s. When I heard it, it was like overshadowed by Zeppelin 1 and Zeppelin 2 and stuff like that. But like I said, the more I listen and as time goes on, I am gaining an appreciation more for this album. And I think as time goes on, I do this again 2 years from now, good Lord willing, we're all still here. This will probably be higher. So there you go. Presence. Next one, Zeppelin 3. I wish I liked this album more than I do. I still like this album a fair amount, but there's not even a fair amount. I do really like this album. But there's something inside of me that, like, you should like this album even more because it's from that first period of Led Zeppelin that just kicks ass, right? But not everything on here does, you know. I still think it's a really great album. This is an original pressing with the little wheel, you know. That I'm not going to take it out of here, but you know what that thing looks like. By the way, all of these are on either Atlantic or Swan Song. Anyway, there's a guy. I'm really winging it now because I'm bringing this up and JCM Productions or something like that. He does he's a little bit into Led Zeppelin, just a little, and he's an amazing freaking guitar player. He really gets. If you love Zeppelin and you've not looked up JCM, oh God, I hope that's what it is. Look this guy up. This guy has made some incredible deep dive documentaries about Led Zeppelin. So, and the odds are pretty good. If you're a big Zeppelin nut, you know about him anyway. But if you don't, I'm just throwing it out there. But anyway, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure he may have actually made a documentary, and his documentary is like 3-4 hours long and like 3 or 4 episodes of like different albums. And I'm trying to remember if he did make one of Zeppelin 3. I don't think he has yet, so I'll be looking forward to that. But yeah, this is in the middle, you know, where it should be for me. Zeppelin 3. I wish they would have put Hey Hey, What Can I Do on here. I think it ended up just as a B-side of the Immigrant Song, but I wished it would have been on here. Just saying. Next one, Physical Graffiti. Fantastic album. It has one problem. And if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know what that problem is. It's a double album. Guys, come on. It's a really good album. It just goes too long. And there's a few things on here that aren't necessarily necessary for me. There's plenty of amazing stuff on here. Plenty of amazing stuff. But if this would have been a single album, especially if they just put the stuff on here that they had recorded in '74, damn, right? Just unbelievable. And this, of course, is the it's got those little, anyway, with the cutouts of the windows in the house, the tenement building that's in New York. But anyway, it is a solid album. Some of my, there's some of my favorite Zeppelin songs are on here. Some of them, but it's a double album. You know, one of these days I'm gonna just make a video. I'm gonna try to think of, is there a double album that I absolutely love all the way through without one song that is even close to a dud? I gotta do a video. I gotta use the old brain and try to think if there's any. I mean, there's albums come close, you know, but I can't think of a double album, studio album, not live. But a studio album, double album that I absolutely adore all the way through. Video for another day, I guess, right? All right. Physical Graffiti. In the middle. Where it belongs for me. Your mileage may vary, by the way. If you disagree with me, that is my ranking here. That's absolutely fine. That's what the comments are for. Be nice. You try to be nice, anyway. Let me know what your favorite album is. I know that a lot of people put Physical Graffiti right at number one. I get that. I don't blame you at all. This is another one. A lot of people. We're getting into like just the cream of the crop. The last four are just like, And any of these, well, with the exception of that one, which I'll show you in a little bit, I think pretty much any of the other three could be people's number ones, and I've seen them number one. Speaking of number one, Zeppelins number one. God, this album pounds. This is a fantastic album. It's a later pressing. It's my pressing that I have, that I pulled anyway, is a 1977 reissue. Sounds good though to me. I have other pressings, but this is just the one that came out of the wall. You know what I'm saying? When I was pulling stuff from there. Love this album. Absolutely love this album. An amazing debut album. I have some original Zeppelin 45s, and I have the original Zeppelin 45 of what do we got here? Of Good Times, Bad Times, with Communication Breakdown on the B-side, and it's mono. I think that it may not be, but it could be a designated mono mix. If it's not, if it is, let me know down there. Some of you who are really into it. That first single, was that a designated mono mix, or was it just a fold down? Irregardless, damn, that thing pounds in mono. Good Times, Bad Times, back with Communication Breakdown. And it didn't go anywhere, at least on the singles charts. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, if you can find that 45 in good shape for a decent price, pick it up, because it just, if you think it sounds good in stereo, damn. And did I tell you it sounds great in mono? I'm just saying. Anyway, getting closer to the top, where it should be. Led Zeppelin's first album. Next one, I love this album. I love the textures. This was really the first time that Jimmy Page had his home studio set up. He had more of a home studio set up. Even though this wasn't recorded at a home studio, he got a chance to experiment a lot more. And it showed, because this record is just layers of guitars. And it's just magnificent. Houses of the Holy. I love this album. There's one song we all kind of look at, and we ask that question: where's the confounded bridge? Why that's there? Some people dig it. I kind of dig it because it's just so weird. But sometimes it doesn't really fit with everything else on here. But this, just an amazing album. I honestly, everything on here I think is great. And again, like I said, I loved the layering that Jimmy Page was able to take the time, because before that it was just go in the studio, work some stuff out, and they got some pretty damn good music, didn't they? But this was the one where it was like, we're going to take our time, we're going to work on this, I'm going to experiment. And boy, oh boy, did he. Love this album. Houses of the Holy from 1973. Vividly remember this, brother getting this album back when I was just a young whippersnapper, and absolutely loved it. Two more, and you know what they are. Either one of these could be number one in my book, and the only reason that number one is number one is because it's a sentimental thing, and I'll get into that. But the album at number two for me is Zeppelin 2. Again, is not a bad thing on here. This album just absolutely pounds. You know, what can I say? What really can I say about this that hasn't already been said? It's just a freaking amazing album all the way through. My first recollection, my brother didn't initially have this album, and I'm trying to think. A neighbor had it, and I can't remember who the hell the neighbor was, but I heard it all the way through for the first time in like the 70s, and that neighbor had made me a cassette of this. Probably 75, 76, somewhere around there when I was like 10. Made me a cassette of this, and it's just friggin' fantastic, right? Okay. At my second favorite Led Zeppelin album, at least for today, Led Zeppelin 2. You know what's at number one? Some people put this at number one. Some people don't. Of course, it is the... We don't know what the hell the name of the... Zoso, Zeppelin 4, the Symbols album. What is it called? We don't care. We know it's this. Right? 1971, late 71. The sentimental value is this is the first Zeppelin album that I ever heard. My brother, we will, how can we put this? But the other videos, you know that my brother, back especially when he was a teenager, liked 5-finger discounts. And he was a naughty boy back then. God rest his soul. He had a tendency, there was a store called Zehrs. It's a long time ago, right? Not even sure if Zehrs, I think they were a national store. But anyway, he would go into Zehrs with this army coat that he's acquired. That was way bigger than him. And my brother was on crutches. So everybody kind of felt sorry for him because he was on crutches. So we go into the store and everybody go, oh, here comes that poor kid again. And he would kind of underneath his coat walk out with a couple of 8-tracks. Well, late 71, early 72, he walked out with this. Late 71, early 72, I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. And he played this for me for the first time. And it blew my mind. I remember hearing the drum beat for When the Levee Breaks, and I've drummed for years. It's one of the things I've done. I mean, I remember hearing that and just doing this to that. Now, for those of you who really know what's going on, there's an echo on that. So he's really not tapping the bass twice. But for the sake of a 4-year-old who hears this, and I just started doing that. And my brother was like, damn, how'd you do that? I was like, I don't know, Bubba. You know, started me out. Really, that, and maybe I'll tell you another story at some other time about an American Bandstand. Seeing American Bandstand when I was 4, I think, 1970, mid-70s, 4 or 5. And another incident that really started me on my wonderful world of drumming. But anyway, this when he brought this home, it fried my mind. Just completely fried my mind. And, it reminds me of my brother. It reminds me of the quote-unquote good old days, later on partying to this album when I was young and dumb and doing crazy stuff like that. So very sentimental. And on top of that, even if it wasn't sentimental, this is just a freaking great album, kids, right? You know that. Anyway, my favorite Led Zeppelin album, we'll call it Led Zeppelin 4. Just, okay? All right, there you go, kids. Like, subscribe, share, do something. Thank you. No, we haven't been doing all that great lately with the with the views. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna keep going. As long as a few of you, just even if it's just you right there that's watching, I'll try to keep making videos. But the last couple of videos have been kind of have crashed. But we're gonna keep trying. Yeah, like, subscribe, share. please, and tell people that Scotty's Record Shop is back in town. Alrighty, kiddies? Alright. Until next time, everybody, peace and love.